Now, what are the various methods of irrigation that exist in our country? We have got the primitive method of irrigation and the modern methods of irrigation. The first one that we will discuss, that is the canal irrigation. Now, canal irrigation, it is one of the most important sources of irrigation in India. Nearly 40% of our total irrigated area, it depends upon the canals. Now, it is more widespread over the northern part of the country simply for the reason that the low level of the land is available over here and it has got deep fertile soil and the presence of the perennial sources of the river that originate from the Himalayas. These are the snow-fed rivers. Then there are the two types of the canals, inundation and perennial canal. Now, what are inundation canals? They are taken out from the rivers, but they do not have any kind of the barrages at their head to regulate the flow of the water. It is only the excess of the water that is taken out only at the time period of the flood, and only low regions of the country, they are benefited by it. So then what are the advantages and the disadvantages? Now, advantages is that inundation canals, they are easy and cheap to build up and it is helpful while controlling the flood. Disadvantages, the uncertainty of the water supply, it is there. It is used only during the time of the flood and only the lowland areas, they are irrigated by it. Perennial canals. Now, these are the canals where the water is there throughout the whole year because the main source is the perennial rivers. So, artificial lakes, reservoirs, they are constructed across the rivers. Now, the advantages of these, it includes that it is the perennial source of irrigation. Water is very rich in all the sediments that is collected since the rivers, they are long-rooted ones. Then the initial cost of building up is high, but it is quite cheap in the long run. That disadvantages includes that the problem of waterlogging, it is there if the canals, they are unlined, and problem of soil to become saline, that is also there. So the swamp-like areas, they occur near the canals. Now, irrigation by canal is more suitable in northern India rather than the south for the reason that northern plains, they are perennial snow-fed rivers are present, but in the southern half of India, the rivers are seasonal. Then the surface of the northern plains, it is flat and soft, but in the south, it is all rocky and very difficult to dig out. And demand also for agriculture land is more in the northern half of the country rather than in the south, and the reason being because of the fertile soil. Next we have the tank irrigation. Now, canal irrigation, that is more favored in the northern half of India because the soil quality is very soft. In south we have the tank irrigation for the reason that the land surface is rocky and soil is non-porous. So water remains at the top surface over there. The other reasons being that the presence of the hard rocks make the soil difficult to dig for the canal or for the wells. So tanks, they are more preferred over there. The topography of the south is such that already the depressions, they are there. So the tanks, they are made out. They are lined and then they are made out. Then in the peninsular India, it receives the more rainfall from the monsoon type of the climate. So tank irrigation is more preferred in the regions of Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka and Orissa. Then what are the advantage of it? Now, tank irrigation, it is the most simple and easy and cheap type of the construction. Then the another one is it allows the monsoon water to be stored and used for the later purposes or when required. Then the tank irrigation, it also helps in raising the underground water level. Now talking about the disadvantages, silting, that is the collection of the sediment, it takes place on the tank bed. So salt effusions, it also occurs because the temperature is very high. The rate of evaporation, that would also be very high. The leftover water, it turns out to be brackish in nature. Once the water turns out to be brackish, then it cannot be further used, not agriculturally, neither domestically. The another problem is tanks use up the large areas of the land which could otherwise be used for the agriculture. Then the tanks are non-perennial and dry up in the summer season. The important states for the tank irrigation, they are Andhra Pradesh, then Telangana and Tamil Nadu, along with Odisha, Karnataka and Maharashtra. And in northern India, we have the states of West Bengal, Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. One of the oldest method of irrigation is the well irrigation. So in India, we utilized nearly about 40% of the irrigated area is under the well irrigation. Now what are the conditions? Favorable one, that the water level is very high and the ground has the soft rocks. Then the types of the well, it include the surface well or the ordinary well. Now these wells, they are both the unlined wells or the kacha wells, that is not made up of the bricks or stones, or the lined wells, pakka wells. Now these are made with the help of the bricks and stones. Now these wells, the unlined one, they are dug near the field and it is constructed where the water is as high as 15 meters. Where the tube wells, they are concerned, they are much deeper wells and they are dug over than 15 meters, more than it rather. Then the water is lifted with the help of the electronic pumping set or the diesel engine. For the installation, sufficient groundwater level, that is required, regular supply of the water, electricity, that is required. Soil, it should be very fertile and soft so that the digging up of the tube well, it becomes very easy. Not only that, over a period of time, the cost of installation of tube well, it is recovered by the produce that comes out of the agricultural fields. Now why the well irrigation is very popular in the northern side of India, ordinary well? The reason being that the groundwater or the water table is very high in the Ganga plain. Then the soft alluvial soil, it makes the digging up of the well very easy. The amount of the rainfall, it replenishes the groundwater and the continuous supply of the hydroelectricity, which is very cheap. Then what are the advantages of the well irrigation? Now, well irrigation, it is the simplest, cheapest source of the irrigation and it is the independent source of irrigation where it can be used as and when the necessity it arises. So it can be dug at any of the places which has a soft alluvial soil. What are its disadvantages then? It may run dry if it is not deep enough and it can irrigate only a small area, and it is dug in the area where the groundwater level is high. Then the water, it becomes unsuitable for irrigation because it contains a very high percentage of the minerals in it. Sometimes the water can turn out to be brackish in nature. Now the states where well irrigation is popular is Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, Punjab and Bihar, but it is also found in West Bengal, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. Then we have the tube wells. Now what is a tube well? It is actually a bore well which is dug deep in the ground with the help of a drilling machine, where the underground aquifers, they are present. With the help of the electronic pump, the water, it is lifted up for the irrigation purposes. the required depth of the well depends upon the depth of the water table that is available. Now, the sufficient supply of groundwater and cheap electric power, they are essential for it. Then the ground, it should be soft, adequate amount of the rainfall, it should be there, and the climate, it should not be of the extreme type. Then what are the advantages of it? With the help of the tube well, now the farmers, they are at advantage because the usage of it now depends upon the farmer's finger. He doesn't have to rely on monsoons anymore. Then much of the area, it can be irrigated with the help of it. It is a very reliable source of irrigation, and throughout the whole year the fields, it can remain irrigated with the help of it. Tube wells played the major role in the green revolution. The availability of the water that is less, where there is low rainfall, then with the help of the tube wells, the cultivation, it becomes possible. The best example is the rice cultivation in our state, in state of Punjab. The disadvantage, it includes that it requires the continuous supply of the cheap power, electricity, which is not easily available in many of the states.